Rule number 1 at the Grange Hall Wax Museum: never look the exhibits in the eye after midnight. It's not a superstition. It's rule number 1 on a list of 27 points hanging in my security booth. My name is Michael, and I've been the night guard here for 5 years. I knew every crack in the marble floor, every creak of the floorboard, every muffled hum of a neon lamp. And I never, you hear me, never broke the rules. Until last night. The Grange Hall Museum isn't a tourist spot. It's old, smells of dust and camphor, and its collection is peculiar. There are no presidents or movie stars here. It houses figures of the most notorious villains and maniacs in history. Jack the Ripper is frozen in the semi-darkness with a raised scalpel. Charles Manson stares into the void with a mad grin. In a separate hall, the Kunstkammer, stand figures whose names have been erased by time, but whose wax faces bear the imprint of inhuman cruelty. It was in the Kunstkammer, in the farthest corner, that he stood. We called him the Wanderer, a figure in a tattered cloak with a hood, its face almost completely hidden in shadow. From under the hood, only the tip of a long, pale nose and thin, dry lips, set in a semblance of a smile, were visible. His hands, long and bony with unnaturally elongated fingers, were hidden in the folds of his clothing. He was the oldest exhibit, and there was something wrong with him. Even during the day, in the light, the curators gave him a wide berth. They said he was acquired by the museum's founder, the old madman Horace Grange, who claimed the figure wasn't made of wax. Yesterday's shift started as usual. 10 o'clock, rounds, checking the locks. 11:30 p.m., coffee in the booth, reviewing camera footage. The cameras only covered the main halls. The Kunstkammer was a blind spot. Another rule. At 12:47 a.m., I heard the first sound. A quiet, barely audible grating, like stone rubbing against stone. It was coming from the Kunstkammer. I froze with my mug in my hand. My heart started pounding in my throat. Rule number 5. For any foreign sounds, remain in the booth and call the police. But someone had to check. What if it was vandals? I took a flashlight and a heavy pry bar, our baton, and moved deeper into the museum. Shadows danced to the rhythm of my steps, the frozen wax faces, lit at an acute angle by the flashlight beam, seemed alive. I fancied that Jack the Ripper's eyes were following me. I quickened my pace. The door to the Kunstkammer was ajar. I was sure I had closed it. Inside was pitch black, which even the powerful flashlight couldn't penetrate. I crossed the threshold. The air here was colder, thicker, smelling not of dust, but of an old burial mound and damp earth. Is anyone there? My words were swallowed by the echoing silence. I shined the light around the hall. Manson's figure was in place. Another one, the witch with gouged out eyes, was in place. And then the beam slid into that far corner. It was empty. The Wanderer was gone. An icy wave washed over my body. I recoiled, and at that moment, the flashlight revealed another detail from the darkness. On the floor, where the figure had stood, lay a small, crumpled piece of paper. I picked it up with a trembling hand. It was written in a clumsy, old-fashioned handwriting, "Thank you for letting me out." And then I saw him. He was standing at the other end of the hall, in deep shadow by the exit. His hood was still pulled up, but now I could see more. I could see those fingers, pale as fallen twigs, slowly moving. And I broke the rule. I looked at his face. or rather into the abyss that was hidden under the hood. There were no eyes there. There were two coal-black pits, bottomless and empty, and from these pits poured such a silent, ancient horror that my own breath caught in my throat like a gag. He didn't move. He just stood and watched. And then his lips, those thin, dry threads, twitched and stretched into the most disgusting, most triumphant smile I'd ever seen. I ran. I don't remember how I ended up in the booth, how I slammed the door. I sat with my back against the wall and listened. Silence. Deep, ominous, taut like a string. In the morning, when the day shift arrived, I burst out of the booth and rushed to the Kunstkammer. In its place, covered in dust, stood the Wanderer. Hands hidden, hood in place. The curator, Mr. Jenkins, looked at me like I was crazy. "Are you all right, Michael?" he asked. He moved, I blurted. Jenkins shook his head. "The figure is in place. You, my friend, need some rest. You look terrible." I didn't argue. I went home, but I couldn't sleep. Every rustle made me flinch. That smile was burned into my eyes. In the evening, getting ready for work, I discovered that my favorite lighter, which I always left on the bedside table, was missing. I searched the entire apartment. Useless. And now I'm back at work. Night. I'm in my booth, and I just finished my rounds. The Wanderer is in his place. But I noticed something. The dust on his shoulder, it wasn't quite the same as yesterday, as if someone had carelessly brushed it off. And also, is it my imagination? Or is his hood turned slightly more towards my post? I'm sitting and watching the monitors. On the camera in the main hall, I just saw a shadow, tall, thin, in a cloak. It flashed and disappeared. I know it's him. He's walking around. And the worst thing, I just checked the pocket of my jacket. My missing lighter was in there. It was icy to the touch and smelled of damp earth. He was in my home. He's here. He's free, and the rules no longer work. Because rule number 27, the very last one, states that if the figure of the Wanderer has moved from its place, leave the museum grounds and never return. But I can't leave. Not because the door is jammed, but because I know it's useless. He's everywhere. He could be in my apartment, in the elevator, in my car. He has become my shadow. I'm looking at the monitor showing the Kunstkammer. The Wanderer is in his place, but now his hood is turned directly towards the camera lens. And I know he's looking at me. He's waiting. And I understand the most terrible truth. I am not a rule breaker. I am his new exhibit. And our game is just beginning.